Hi everyone, I'm Evan Mitchell, music director of the Kingston Symphony Orchestra today, and I am joined this Symphony Sunday by Melissa Scott, who is our own principal oboe. Hi Melissa, thanks for joining us this Symphony Sunday.
Hi, Evan.
So today we're going to be talking about a very special piece. This is Marian Mazetich's Calla, Lilies, a wonderful piece for oboe and strings. And this was a piece that you performed as soloist in a concert where you also played principal oboe on Brahms's First Symphony. It was quite the afternoon for you, as I recall.
Yeah, it was a little crazy for me to do, but I didn't want to miss out playing Brahms 1, so...
I know, it's an incredible piece of music for sure. So, what does it feel like to be performing as a soloist in front of your own orchestra? That's got to be an unusual feeling.
I've actually performed with an orchestra, with my youth orchestra before, and with in Ottawa, and also with some other community orchestras, but this was definitely different. When I walked down onto stage, it was like this overwhelming feeling of warmth and anticipation and support. It was everything above. It was really quite the experience.
Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, it was a great performance as well. I think that whole concert ended up being, if I were to sort of rank just the performance, give it a report card grade, I think that probably that was the finest performance, top to bottom, that concert. Masterworks 3, I think it was, which was the Forêt, Pelias and Malazan. It's a piece that we've discussed previously on this Symphony Sunday series, and Calla, Lilies, and Brahms's First Symphony. That was just like a knockout concert. I was so proud of the orchestra, and I was so proud of you. It was really, really something very special. Yeah. So I think that Marian's piece is really wonderful, and I know that it's a piece that is special to you. What is it about Calla, Lilies? What draws you in about this music?
The music is just so calm and serene and just purely beautiful. It isn't complicated. And it's kind of a light theme and variation, so it's something familiar that can come back, and it's just so gorgeous. And actually, the first time I ever heard it, my former teacher, Charles Heyman, or Chip as he's known, from the National Arts and Orchestra, he recorded it in 1995, I believe, with 13 strings in Ottawa, and he gave me this recording of him playing it, and I listened to it obsessively. Like, it was so beautiful, and I couldn't get enough of it, so of course I jumped at the opportunity to perform this. And to know that Marian Mazetich is also a composer from Kingston, I didn't know that when I was obsessed with it in my undergrad, but that's makes it even more special.
Yeah, he's a wonderful composer. I'm a huge fan of all of his works, and I think for me, for Calla, Lilies, there's definitely something to be said about pieces that are direct in their simplicity. That simple doesn't necessarily mean shallow. There is an unbelievable amount of craft in being able to take something with so direct a message and to be able to present it in a manner that actually is emotionally affecting. And I think that's Marian Mazetich's jam. He's just able to do that like very few people can. I think it's a brilliant work.
Even though it sounds simple, it's it explores the full range of the oboe, like from extreme highs to extreme lows, and it's very challenging endurance-wise. And so it's definitely not simple for me to play, but certainly sounds simple.
Yeah. Well, I also remember when I too am familiar with Chip's recording, and I've always loved this piece. I think it's really beautiful. It was an easy choice to program it on this concert. When I got the sheet music, I'm just like, oh, so that's how that's accomplished. It's actually sort of a very... you have to do a lot of finesse from the orchestra accompaniment part to be able to give this sense of those phrases that unfold freely. There's like
they kind of just float there, yeah.
They float there, but there's a very specific structure, which is a way of being able to manage it so that everyone is together, but at the same time that it sounds free. It's again quite a wonderful piece of craft that is more difficult to execute than one might think when you're listening to it.
Yeah, it looks very different on the page than you'd think.
Absolutely. No, it's a wonderful piece, one of Marianne's true masterworks, I think. Speaking of masterworks, you also played Brahms's First Symphony, as we mentioned earlier, in the second half of this concert. What is that like? I mean, that to me, it's like the analogy I sometimes use when we have these crazy concerts like this is that it's like a marathon at the end of a marathon. Was it like that for you? That particular afternoon when you performed both Marianne's piece and Brahms?
It was kind of a weird afternoon. Okay, so I finished performing Marianne's piece, and it's such a relief for it to be over and for it to have gone okay.
Sure.
And I quickly changed into something black because what I was wearing was navy blue, so that wouldn't have been good. So I quickly changed into a concert dress, and I got on stage, and funny enough, even though Brahms 1 is actually one of the main pieces used in oboe auditions, what happened when I got back on the stage, it was just such a relief that it went well, the first half, that I actually just had fun. I was able to play, express myself musically and just relax and think, well, here it goes. I mean, it was just a really fun experience. Just let go and be musical and just not worry.
And enjoy yourself, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not that I'm always worrying when I'm performing, but normally I nitpick a little bit more when I'm playing.
Sure.
But I was able to really relax.
No, there is something to be said about. I remember at the beginning of that season, our season opener was the Kalinikov Symphony, and that was something that was very difficult and obviously completely unfamiliar, and the whole orchestra, I think, made the point of, because it was the first concert of the season, and we had the parts out really early. Everybody was able to dig into this and become super familiar with it. So it meant that all of that anxiety had passed by the first rehearsal. And it just meant that we were able to have this, I wouldn't say relaxed, because, there's no such thing as an easy symphony, really, ever. There's no such thing. But we got to the point where at least it felt familiar, as though we'd played it before, perhaps. There was just a sense of getting past all of that tension, and we just were able to make music from the downbeat of the first rehearsal. And I really felt that in spite of the familiarity of Brahms's First Symphony, that afternoon we were all making really exceptional music. That was definitely a concert to remember. So now we're going to listen to a selection of Marianne Mazetich's Calla Lilies. This is performed by Melissa Scott and the string section of the Kingston Symphony Orchestra. Thanks for joining us again, Melissa, for Symphony Sundays. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you for having me.